This episode of Witchpolice Radio is brought to you by our friends at the Park Theatre. We have a number of great shows coming up. On Wednesday, June 20th is The Faceless with Angel Maker and Inverted Serenity. Thursday, June 21st, Australia's Pierce Brothers. And Sunday, June 24th is the Summer Shimmy Belly Dancing Cabaret. For more information, visit myparktheatre.com. This week's episode of Witchpolice Radio is brought to you by Fourth Quarter Records. It's a Winnipeg-based label and recording studio home to Threepeat, as well as Eggs Solo Projects and Charlie Feta. You can find their merchandise, including the awesome new Threepeat hoodies, online at fourthquarterrecords.com. And if you haven't seen these things, you should definitely check them out. I mean, a lot of local artists are wearing them right now, and it's very cool to see the support from across genres. As soon as those Threepeat hoodies came out, I've been seeing all kinds of people posting on social media, and it's, people in rock bands, electronic music, soul music, whatever. They're all sort of sporting the Threepeat gear. So there's definitely a lot of love and support for Threepeat within the local music community at large, and it's very cool to see.
You're listening to Garbage Hill, Winnipeg's first podcast network.
Welcome to Witchpolice Radio. I am here.
Shit, it's recording?
It's recording.
Oh, goddamn, I love Mondays.
I'm going to start this again?
No, keep it rolling.
I'm Sam. I'm the regular host. Ryan is back for the first time in a while. I haven't seen you in a few weeks, at least.
Pumping iron.
Yeah, pumping iron.
Yeah.
And we are here with guests who have not been on the show in, as we were trying to figure out, this was 3 years, maybe? A while. A while.
Years.
But, yeah, we're here with vampires. And, I don't know. We are here with vampires.
They sound like.
Yes, yeah, apparently. And I guess, obviously the reason that you're back on the show is because you have something that's happening very soon that you want to promote. You have a new album coming out, and it's been a while.
Yeah, we got a full album coming out. It's called Nature Laughs.
Okay.
That's the kind of the theme and motif of the whole thing.
Nature laughing.
Yeah, just having its way with you, and just kind of Anyway, the name of the album is essentially you may feel stressed out and you may be going through all this turmoil, but in nature's eyes, it's just another stone in the pond.
Right.
It's just what are your problems?
It's significant. It's not significant in the greater. Yeah.
Your plans make no difference to the greater scheme of things.
Right.
As well.
Right.
That, nature has its own plans for you, regardless of the best laid plans.
So you could feel like you're being completely shit on, but nature doesn't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, let's put it this way: this album was recorded maybe 3.5 years ago at this point.
Okay.
So it's been a long time coming, and a lot of hurdles in between then.
And have you guys played a lot of shows in that time, or not really? I don't think I've.
I mean, not a lot compared to maybe when we were active.
Last year, we've played one show. But leading up before that year, we were active.
Yeah, you were active for a while, right? Yeah.
And it slowed down. It definitely slowed down. We got offered a few shows last year that were worth coming out of hiding for type of thing. Yeah. So made an appearance and just always had plans to keep it going after the next one. And
are things ramping back up now? Is this kind of what you're trying to do with this album to get more out there as far as shows go?
Yeah, we have some T-shirts, for merch for the show.
Right on.
There's gonna be some large format posters. Giant, actual movie size.
Oh, right.
Posters,
That's really cool.
There's definitely a skill set that's ready to be showcased again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Matt's really good at what he does, and I'm pretty good at what I do. And together we can do a good thing. So that's what June 23rd is all about. Is just kind of showing ourselves and our friends that we can still do this right.
Right, even though it may have been a while since the last time they heard you, right? It's still
yeah. Or as Matt put it the other day, to see who still cares about this.
Right. Yeah. This is the test, right? To see if anyone's going to come up the show.
If anyone comes up, and kind of have to play it by ear, and but it's definitely been fun getting back into the rehearsals.
Yeah.
I moved out of my house, so we lost our jam space.
Okay.
We've been jamming at the studio at the University of Manitoba. Thank you so much. And that's been a real trip because it's a real studio with headphones. And it's really kind of made bright us. Lights. It's bright lights, as opposed to dingy.
Right, dank kind of basement vibes. Yeah.
So
that basement was fucked. That basement was fucked.
Yeah.
How many fundraisers can you throw to fix a basement and just still not get it fixed?
And never fix it. Yeah.
Were there fundraisers to fix the basement?
There's fundraisers to fix every part of the house.
Fix everything, yeah.
But the fundraisers only generated
pizza.
like $200 a fundraiser, and it's like that's like shooting a feather at a tank.
Yeah.
You know? It's the worst.
I would actually like to see a fundraiser for pizza.
Yeah.
Just like I want pizza. Let's do a show.
Witchpolice presents buys pizza.
Yeah, it's a great idea. It's a great idea.
October 2018.
Okay, let's do it. Yeah.
All right.
It's happening. All right.
Yeah, so just like moving from the basement to the studio was really fun, like for me, because everything's like crisp and like punctual and like really nice, and like I don't know, it's just been really fun because we haven't played a show in a year, and then we haven't rehearsed. We never needed to rehearse in a year either
Because no show's coming up or anything.
Yeah, so I remember the first time we were like in the room, we're like, how's this gonna go? Like, are we gonna have to like start? Like, how does it go after this? Oh, stop.
Right.
How does it go after then? Like, relearn our own songs. But Jam 1 was just like, we're pretty good at this. Like, we feel confident. And
It came back at least naturally enough.
That's good, yeah.
it came back naturally. There's a few hiccup parts of kind of like, what do you do here? And then, you know, like, our live show is always evolving. Like, we like to play with our own songs a lot, you know? So it's nice to have an album, but it's also nice to be, like, in the room again and just kind of, like, hearing how things develop. Yeah.
Well, I guess it's convenient too, the fact that there are only two of you to instead of like Kevin, like 5 people who need to remember their parts. At least you know it's a limited number of people, so you can probably pick it up quicker than
Yeah, well, that for me that was like part of the fear. Was
I guess
because Matt knows everything, and I'm a couple of rehearsals behind,
and you have nowhere to hide behind. Then
I can't like flub it and just like fake it through. Oh, I couldn't hear your bass. That's because I wasn't playing. You know, it's like
There's a reason for that. I wasn't playing.
Well, it's kind of that naked fear, like that back in the studio, like in this bright room, we're listening to each other through headphones. We can hear every little minute thing that we're doing. So like the pressure was almost back on us in a way of like, can we do this? Are we gonna just make fools of ourselves for the next 2 hours and then leave here all super depressed or whatever? But like,
well, I feel like that first jam went so well that it was easy to start working on, like, you know, a song lineup and a stage show, and like think about the show more as opposed to just like, oh, we got to be ready for the show. Like, like I feel ready. Yeah, you know, like I could do this.
Get what they get.
I could do this tomorrow. And like it'd be just as good as in 2 weeks.
Right,
you know?
right.
It feels good. Yeah.
Did working in the studio there, you saying the bright lights and everything, and the hearing every little bit of what you're doing, did that contribute to the sound of new material at all? Like, or
oh no, because the album's been recorded.
So this is all the same stuff you're doing from. Okay.
Yeah, so like this album, like for those of us coming to the show, they've probably seen a few of these songs in their kind of like framed. You know, they're kind of like.
If anyone's seen us play in the last like 2-3 years,
they've heard
a handful of these songs.
Okay.
We haven't played the album back to front live, and
we haven't played only these songs. You know, like we'll kind of like cherry pick a few of the new ones and match them in with the old ones.
Okay.
But this is like a great like ground zero moving forward type feel. Like everything you're gonna hear is, I think, our best work. Just straight up.
Well, it's at least straight up the Dobbs and Powers Vampires, where, you know, not that there was like this line where we were always trying to get away from, but like, you know,
well,
David had a different band member at one point as the drummer, so there was a full-length album that was the established Vampires.
Right, and the sound changed obviously when you came in.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it changed to a degree, but like this is definitely, I guess, that maybe that line in the sand of like, here is where the band is at this point type of thing. And
well, it's just like, like I say, like best work. Like it's stronger. It's I don't know, it's really good. I'm really proud of it. It's great.
So I guess the obvious question then is, I mean, it sounds good. I can't wait to hear it. Like, why did it take so long to get this finally released?
A few things. One, I'm really bad at making decisions sometimes.
Okay, fair enough.
And, you know, like the usual suspects of album land, where like money and time and things like that. We were really fortunate to get a grant with MFM, and we recorded with Sean Dealey at Empire Studios, Exchange District Studios, downtown Winnipeg. Like, you know, big, real deal experience. And then, you know, a little bit of back and forth on who's going to mix it. And, you know, we ultimately went with Mortfelt Records to mix it, and that process was really good, but it was also really long. You know, like, you know, we had an opportunity to mix with Empire, and, you know, every once in a while in my head, I'm like, oh, did I make that right choice? You know, and like, but, you know, like, we both really like collaboration, and we'd also like kind of agreed to do it that way, ready and like honoring our word and things like that.
Right.
So that kind of like convoluted it a little bit right off the bat. I think it took 9 months to mix.
It took a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Maybe,
Yeah.
felt like it took a long time.
Maybe 14 months to mix.
Wow.
We were in the middle of touring and doing other things at that point too, so it wasn't like we need this done right now.
Yeah.
Sure.
We're planning on releasing this next month, so we did allow a little bit of time maybe, but
Like, it's like we recorded in January 14, and then the whole year went by, and then 15 we got it like pressed.
Okay.
And there's actually a little hiccup in that story.
Oh, so the physical copies have been sitting there for a while.
The physical
too.
copies have been sitting
yeah.
in
Wow.
for a while.
Huh.
And like there's even a little I guess the design element took a while, because like we worked with Sean, what's Sean's last name?
Perkins.
Sean Perkins.
Of the Perkins dynasty.
Of course. Yeah, best late night chow. And so like that took its own time, right?
Right, yeah,
So,
sure.
And then, you know, we're getting halfway through 2015 now.
That seems like so long ago at this point.
Yeah,
Like, I mean,
I
it's a
know.
really long...
It sounds like
Yeah.
it's a lifetime
such an
ago.
abstractly long time
Yeah,
ago.
yeah.
Yeah, and then the big thing that happened, like for me, is my younger brother passed away in February of 2016,
Okay.
and that was from an opioid overdose. And it was like, you know, right around that time where like everyone in Winnipeg was dying from drugs.
Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
was one of the first people, you know,
Okay.
and that was like, quite frankly, the most difficult thing I've ever been through in my life.
Yeah, I believe it, for sure.
It's a ground zero moment. I feel like everything before that day is experience trying to get through this now. You know what I mean? It just
Yeah,
seems
yeah.
like fucking worthless experience because it didn't really help to get through it. But now, you know what I mean? It's kind of like a dreamlike state. And so I just kind of, like, Matt was very understanding, and he was like, take your time.
Yeah.
And I'm a bit of a pothead, so I took a lot of time. You know, and then also the knowledge that the lyrics on this album are like littered with references to Adam, and his addictions. Because
Okay.
writing the album, that stuff seeps in.
Sure, yeah. What you're dealing with personally, yeah.
Yeah,
for
you're
sure.
like, you know, this is a way to vent. This is a way to excuse it. And in some of the cases, the lyrics are actually like post-mortem, like third party. And so going back into like that mode of like digesting my own shit was
Sure.
impossible. Like I just didn't want to touch Vampire's music for a solid year, probably. Because I didn't know how I wanted to. Like, do we become an instrumental band? Because the riffs don't have any of that heinous
Right.
shit in it.
Yeah.
You know, like, so, and then how do you, you know, work with that? And so that's this timeline for me, at least. Yeah, that's just kind of how it goes. And that's been in tow of all that, really.
Right.
You know, and like, you know, Matt moved to a really nice place called Enola.
Yeah, you're in the city now. Yeah.
Corey Ritchie's hometown.
What was it?
What's the baseball guy outside town?
Oh god,
Corey
I drive by
Fletcher,
it every
Corey
day now.
Ritchie,
I
yeah.
don't know.
Some guy.
You know, and
Some
so
guy,
like
yeah.
that kind of like, you know, like we didn't have a jam space.
Right, because you're separate and yeah.
Yeah, and there wasn't a gung-ho attitude to get back on it because I was quite frankly very anxious, you know, and aware of how anxious I might be.
Right.
So we took our sweet ass time. Yeah.
So why now? I guess what has made this? Is it just because you've been sitting on it for so long you need to finally get it out? Or was there a decision made that like, okay, now we're at a point where this can actually...
Well, I mean,
Get heard,
you finally got the wheels going in that sense. I mean, like we jammed on and off, we'd done this and that, and
Yeah.
I can't even remember exactly. You just kind of said that you were ready, I guess, more or less. You know, or like it was time type of thing. So.
Yeah, I've always wanted to drop a Vampires album in summer.
Yeah.
I've always thought of us as a summertime band.
Okay.
Last time Vampires released an album in 2012, it was in November because everything was pushed back and all that crap, and then it just seemed like a really good time to do it. I don't know, a few different factors. Like, yeah, I got my sea legs back. You know what I mean? I have a nice little support group in my life right now that I'm able to have this conversation with you guys.
Yeah.
Whereas like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, like I wouldn't be able to say
Sure.
what I just
Yeah.
said. You know?
Sure.
So in that way, it's like kind of like, well, you're doing a lot better. now's the best only time. You know,
Right.
Just really thankful to be able to release it as well. You know, that it's not too long, or that,
Sure, yeah.
you know, like, no one gives a shit anymore or whatever.
That's what you're hoping, right? You're hoping people are gonna. Yeah.
Yeah, well, because, like, you know, throughout the years, we get asked, like, how's Vamps doing? What are you guys doing? People come up to me and are like, are you guys still a band?
Yeah.
You know, and inside of you, you're like, I'm still a fucking band. Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I though?
I haven't played a show and I don't know when it's happening, and I got a box full of CDs sitting in my room, so it's a fair question.
Yes.
And I just wanted to be able to, you know, like Matt said, just kind of get the ball going again.
So I guess then what you were just saying kind of answers the question is format for the new album. Was it
CD?
Compact disc?
Compact disc, jewel cases.
Nice.
Got a liner note sheet in there. There's going to be a digital download available.
Obviously, of course.
You know, because
For all the kids that
don't know how to use a CD player.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or don't have one. I don't have a CD player.
I don't have a CD player either. Yeah.
I got a bunch.
It's so shocking when people say these days, I don't have a CD player.
Seriously startles me. It startles
With
me.
a CD drive, it just my laptop just doesn't exist.
Do you know what it is though?
that's true.
It makes sense that people don't have it because a lot of cars don't have it anymore, which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
A lot of computers don't have it, but it just seems like a CD player is something that everyone has. Like in my head, I can't wrap my brain around the idea that it doesn't exist anymore. It's like, well, what do you play your CDs on? And they're like, I don't have any CDs.
Yeah.
And it's like, but why? Like,
I got a Walkman and a phone.
What happened to your CDs, right? Because I mean, I guess talking to someone who's like in their early 20s, you know, versus me in my mid 30s, like it's a very different setup.
Oh man.
Just the way they
I
listen.
feel like I got ripped off for like thousands of dollars.
We did. And it's not going to be the last time.
But that's why I still have all my CDs because I spent all this money on them.
Yeah.
And I can't just not. And I also can't go re-obtain all of that shit. Like it just would take forever. So it seems like a normal thing to listen to a CD.
I put all my CDs on my computer and then I put it on my iPod or whatever.
Right.
Like I took the time to rip and burn all my discs, and then I sold a lot of them.
Right.
And then I still have all of the ones that like I can't replace.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. They're sitting in a box. I'll never throw them out just because like I spent lots of money and time and experience on them. But yeah, so like we're doing a jewel case because we didn't do vinyl and we did cassettes for our last
Yeah, I have the cassette.
EP.
Yeah.
You know, there might be a few cassettes floating around. Who knows? It might be fun to burn it on a few like blank cassettes and just throw it out there.
Yeah. Cool.
And then ultimately, you know, a jewel case is like you say, it's like a physical takeaway.
Yeah.
But like you know, some people, I have a Walkman or like an iPod and a vinyl. Like I have a record player. Those are the two mediums. But I don't know.
It's so weird that there's not a standard anymore for what people have.
Yeah.
Like it's just. I know we like talk about it a lot on the show because everyone's different. Right? Every band has their own reasons for releasing on whatever format they release on. But I mean, you do a lot of tapes with your own stuff, right? I mean, you obviously have your reasons for doing that over CD, and you did digital too, of course, right? But yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. I listen to all of them still, CDs, tapes, and records. I just, and I don't really listen to digital stuff. But I'm like the odd one out for that. Like digital is the thing that most people.
Well, I don't know. I think you're still in a strong camp.
I think there's a group for sure.
There's a lot of people that are, you know, they purposely stray away from digital, whether it be just the format being inconvenient of click, 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 or they don't like the quality of
Yeah, that's true. A lot of people are really obsessed with the getting.
Like I can totally see that. I mean, Jeffrey Pateson from Home Street Recordings, he and I were talking the other day how, you know, in 10, 15 years, there's going to be people who, you know, like some people crave the sound of vinyl. There's going to be people who crave the sound of a shitty MP3.
Oh, for sure,
they were raised with that.
I thought you were going to say CD, but this is beyond that even. It's MP3,
They're
I need terrible compression.
Yeah, like they're going to want
really
that.
loud. Yeah.
Is there any way that one song can be much louder than the other? I would really like to get back to that.
Yeah.
Can the cymbals sound like they're under a blanket?
Yeah.
That'd be really nice.
Well, the guitar
I
does
don't
sound
like
underwater.
blanket forts.
Yeah.
Come on.
Exactly.
But you know, that'll be a thing though, because that'll be an aesthetic people are going
Yeah,
for. There'll be
I
some
think so.
band that is trying to record a sound that sounds like a shitty MP3 for sure.
And it's weird because like I consider us to be a lo-fi band.
Yeah.
Like we enjoy like the first album was recorded in high fidelity, and then we like dragged it through a couple of tape reels to like bring it down to our level.
What you wanted, yeah.
Whereas Nature Laughs is a high fidelity record. Like there's still some lo-fi aspects to it because you know we want it to sound like how we think it should sound. But I mean, it was recorded in a real studio with real microphones on like a real board. Like you know, it was really cool capturing all that. Like I have a higher, greater respect for high fidelity, but I still love garage bands.
Yeah.
I still love bands' demos. Like there's nothing better than a crappy demo that hits all your points.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like the best high fidelity record in the world can only be that high fidelity, and you like it for whatever reason, the songwriting. But with a lo-fi experience, like
that'd be just tapes that some bands did in their basement on a boombox, and they record, and it
sounds really, you know, I don't want to say unique, but it sounds like it's nuanced. You know, like it's yours in a way because you're hearing it through like your speakers, and your tape deck,
whatever that might be,
and that changes up. Whereas high fidelity is just high fidelity. You can play a CD off crappy speakers and good speakers, and it's gonna sound within the same range.
Yeah,
you know, like that brick of compression.
Yeah.
yeah, so this album, definitely is our next rung up the ladder in terms of quality, and also the vocals sit on top pretty high. Like that was almost hard to deal with at first, But this is also an album where I'm singing, whereas half of the first one, no singing at all, and then 2/3 of the EP was singing, and now it's more like I sing, which I don't consider myself a singer at all.
Even though you've done it for a while now.
A long time.
Yeah.
When people ask me, like, what do you play? I'm like, I play guitar and I try to sing.
Yeah.
That's just how I feel about it.
Well, that's how I felt with the Mouthboat. Like, I was ostensibly the lead singer, but I was just yelling shit into a microphone. Like, there was no,
Singer is just a term.
Right, it's like the person who's making noise with their mouth.
The mouth.
Yeah, like
Mouthboat?
Mouthboat's
Yeah.
it's like the greater attention whore.
Yeah, right.
Which one can be more, and then I look around, Nick's and Matt's spinning his sticks. And well, fine, why am I singing then?
Fuck you, dude.
Here? As I sing, the kit gets closer to the front of the stage. And talks back, It's like, what's going on?
So, as we're talking to you guys here, there's a big stack of the posters for the show in front of us, and I feel like we need to mention this because we're both kind of involved.
Kind of vested interest.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan did the art.
Everybody in the room
for the poster,
yeah.
which is really cool. And my name is on the poster, and I'm apparently hosting the show.
Yeah, this is going to get good.
So
Apparently happening.
I remember you asked me about it like months ago. I was like, oh yeah, totally, I'll do that. Yeah. And now it's official. Now I'm actually doing this, and I have no idea what the fuck I'm going to be doing.
And what the fuck does that mean?
I'm totally down for doing it, but what am I doing?
Master of ceremony.
Just introducing the bands and whatnot, or?
I think so.
Whatever you're into in that sense, but yeah, I mean...
it's a great opportunity, for you to plug yourself. Like, hey, I'm Sam, and I'm
I thought we were talking about, like, cam work. Like just really just out there with the butt plug, with the tail.
Plug yourself.
Classic Sam Thompson.
Right.
Dave Keegan's like, you stole my personal plug. That's from the office.
You gotta wash that before you give it back.
Yeah, no, I feel Sam is a great person to ask to introduce local bands at a local show, at a local venue. I don't expect you to tell jokes or personal
Yeah, I got no jokes. I'm happy you guys asked me. It's pretty cool. I'm really excited about doing it. And just now that it's actually on a poster, and there's like a description on the internet of who I am and why I'm doing it, it kind of like has become this real thing.
It's like holding people's attention, being able to say what that was and what's coming up, and just kind of like filling in that dead space, and just like jumping up on stage for a minute or a half.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Before and after bands. I really love how like festivals like Rainbow Trout, or showcases like at Manitoba Music, how they have an MC.
Sure.
And it keeps people attentive, engaged, aware, informed. And it also kind of breaks up the monotony of just the standard format of like, here's a band, think whatever you like.
Yeah.
Next. Here's a band.
The note ends and then everybody kind of just like looks around and then goes out to smoke.
Right, yeah. So I'm talking to the 5 people who aren't smoking.
Yes, exactly.
Or helping change that culture. I'm just... I'm not thought I'm going to change smokers or anything.
No.
But I just mean like there's a lot of people that still mill about in the bar and don't smoke. And I don't know. I also find that it's a nice touch of class. Just a little bit of a...
Well, if it wasn't Sam, maybe.
Yeah, if it wasn't me, exactly. Yeah.
Well, it's like, it's an album release. If it was just like a regular show, I don't think...
Right, but you have, it's very cool. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
But, so I guess I'll be there.
I suppose. If it's in print, I will be
This
there.
is how you get me out to shows, because I am notorious for not going to shows. This is like, you put me on the poster and I have to go, yeah. So, yeah.
We'll put you on the list.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't even go for that. I'm on the poster, though.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
But, obviously, the other thing that's notable about the poster is this right here, Ranchos Muerto.
Yeah, Rancho Muerto.
So,
Muerto.
What, I know what that is, but what can you tell me about this, and how did this...
So, like, Rancho Muerto, I don't know how to say that.
Muerto!
Just gets more and more proper every time.
Yeah.
I think we're all making, like, Italian hand gestures, but it's clearly Spanish.
You need to Trebek it and just over, pronounce it, over...
Shave off your mustache and then no one will pay attention to you.
Yeah, there you go.
It's Spanish.
Yes.
For Dead Ranch.
For Dead Ranch. Which is like the craziest thing ever, that Dead Ranch is playing a show again.
Yeah.
I apparently on Dead Ranch show.
You're repping.
Didn't even realize.
Yeah, anyone who's familiar with the Winnipeg scene right now knows what those guys are going through.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'll just be really honest. Like, Riley and I kind of had to connect over things, like with my brother, Adam, and with Chad.
Yeah.
And just, like, the nature of their passings and, you know, like, that really kind of helpless ship without a rudder kind of feeling. And, you know, I feel very thankful and vulnerable and everything to have that connect with them. And so Matt and I are tossing around bands who we'd like to share the stage with. And I had this kind of this itch in the back of my head. Like, I was like, well, I know who I want to, but like, do I dare ask them? You know?
How taboo or how too soon
Yeah,
is
yeah,
that
yeah.
at this point, you know?
Or whether they even were thinking of doing it at all, right?
Thinking about it, yeah,
exactly. You know, and so like we had some good talks and some beers and we hung out and, you know, they want, you know, they're gonna play, and so that's a really special
It's
thing,
fantastic, yeah.
you know? I don't know. I don't really know what else to say. Like, I'm just really excited to see what's going on there, you know?
Yeah. We'll see how the sound has changed. Obviously, it's changed. So
yeah,
there's
like,
no way it can't, right?
They're in rehearsals right now, and, like, you know, like, Riley and I hang out and have some beer sometimes, and I try not to ask too much, because I don't really want to, you know, like, make them on the spot any more than I already
Well, I guess you don't want to ruin the surprise, too, right? I mean, because for a lot of people, this is going to be their first time hearing them in a long time. Like,
this is. Yeah, like, they did a Melvin's cover show last year.
Okay.
And I know they all felt, like, really weird about it.
Yeah.
And so this is the first show as that band. You know, like, they're clearly not Dead Ranch anymore.
No, because you can't be, right?
And they likely
spelled and pronounced differently.
Yes.
yeah, exactly. You know, so it's different, but it's the same people with the same attitude and the same fucking talent. Like,
Yeah.
there's some serious talent.
Absolutely.
In that group. And so to have them, you know, like, try getting back on a stage again with us, like, it's so fucking cool. Like,
It's super cool, yeah.
You
Great that
know,
they're willing to put themselves through that with us, for us,
Yeah.
together with us.
That they picked this show as the one to do, right? Like,
Yeah.
it really helped with my confidence to do this show.
Yeah.
You know,
like knowing they were
like,
going to be there kind of thing?
Yeah, because, like, getting up and on stage and talking about the show that we are, which is honest and about, like, you know, like, our experiences, you know, like, I was like, man, if you guys aren't in the crowd, like, this is gonna suck. Like, at least I need like, you know, like, that support group.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I was just like, well, fuck, why don't you play? And you know, it wasn't like a snap decision. Like, you know, they really thought about it, and I really respect that. So it's gonna be really cool.
It's super cool, yeah.
And then Juniper Bush and Homeward Bound are two bands that we really like. Juniper Bush is kind of like a super group. Like they're just like all the different bands in town have like come together for this really gnarly kind of like.
So who's in that group? Because I've heard Homeward Bound. I've obviously heard you guys and
it's Danny Hacking and Kyle Loden,
okay.
like bass and drums, who are in
Surprise Party,
fucking every
bunch of bands. Yeah.
They like you can't be in a band with Danny without Kyle, and you can't be in a band with Kyle without Danny.
Right.
They're just like hip and joint together, right? And then Adrian from Black Cloud is on guitar.
Awesome.
And Elizabeth Burt from Basic Nature and like her solo stuff does vocals and plays guitar.
Cool.
As well. And they're silky. They're silky smooth.
It is very, very good.
Yeah. I describe them like the Black Angels and Nirvana put together.
Sounds good.
You know,
angelic female vocals.
Yeah. Really nice. And Homeward Bound is David Vanderbosch and his partner Tiff Bartel's project. One of the things that Matt and I talk about a lot is like the genres that happen in Winnipeg, or just in general, and like this is a cross genre show. It's more about like people that we like, or people that like us, or like with Rancho, like how they. It's about support, and like, so we want to reach out to people that we feel have great hearts, essentially, is what I'm trying to get at here.
Is there any connection to the image on the poster?
Possibly.
Maybe that subconsciously came out of all of this.
I feel like Ryan had this one in his hat for a while. And because like I've seen the frame version, which is so.
Well, you had it at Wolseley,
which we'll have up for auction at the record release itself.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Yeah,
sitting at the merch table.
Nice. Super open.
I need very expensive socks. So the more money, the better.
It's only got half socks.
I got these.
I know. I've only got half.
I got these socks. These OK Tire socks for free.
Yeah, we can tell, Sam. They're OK Tire socks.
I have 3 pairs of them.
Nobody has ever fucking paid for socks to say OK Tire on them.
I have 3 pairs of them. They're all free, and I've never turned down free socks.
Now you're just one upping. They're all free.
All 3 pairs are free.
3 pairs.
Flips them inside out. He's got socks for the week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I also have Christmas socks that I wear year round because they were also free other socks.
Christmas is a state of mind, man.
Yeah.
OK Tires, Brooklyn or whatever. OK Tires is a state of mind.
I don't even know what OK Tire is. I have no idea.
I assume it's a tire.
I assume so too. They got,
or a record label, maybe.
No, I don't think so.
OK Tire Records.
Okay, could be.
Sounds good.
Could be.
Right?
I feel like anything can be a record label, but that more so than others.
Yeah.
There's a Canadian indie label starting up right this second.
OK Tire. Yeah, someone's gonna hear this and be like, "Oh shit, that's my name! I got it."
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
that's funny.
I want royalties for that. I'm assuming actually OK Tire, whatever it is.
Shit ton of socks.
Hosted by Sam from Witchpolice. He said, "Somebody pay me some fucking money for my socks."
Yeah,
I got them for free. Now you owe me.
Now you owe me big.
Owe me lots of socks.
This episode of Witchpolice sponsored by
OK Tire.
I should. Now that we've talked about it, I should take a picture and be like, "Look, I got your socks. I talked about it on a podcast. Just give me some tires or something." I don't know.
Or how about free socks?
Free socks. More free socks.
More free socks.
I'm fine with promo socks.
Yes.
First repair wasn't enough. I got greedy.
Yeah, I need more. Well, you obviously need some socks. So.
Wow, at least another half.
Get some OK socks and cut them up. And
there we go. Yeah, sew them together.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of ankle socks, like you are, Ryan, though.
Yeah, well, I'm in this thing where I wear like the really high socks with my shorts, but then I realized that eventually I'm gonna have really fucking bizarre tan lines. So I went out and bought the ankle socks.
The SoCal tan line's not for you?
No, well, I mean, it's Winnipeg.
Yeah. SoCal tan line is in between the knee. Just the knee.
Yeah, my shorts are super high and my socks are super high, so I just got this weird space where it's darker than the rest of my body.
Could you solve the problem by just wearing pants all the time?
Yeah, but I don't want to.
It's summertime, Sam.
Yeah, but then there's no worries with tan lines, right?
With that, okay, that's an accurate statement. Yes, if I wore pants all the time, I wouldn't have to worry about my tan lines.
Instead of this kind of rolly.
Hey, I've been rolling up my pants since 1998, and I never look back.
I believe you.
Yeah, I roll my pants up all the time.
Yeah.
Well, who knows? It could flash flood.
Well, when it's hot.
And it's
I also work in a kitchen, and
that would probably contribute.
Shorts are dangerous. Pants are a pain in the butt. So you go.
You roll up your pants.
Yeah, you go capri.
Plus, it shows off my nice feminine ankles.
Oh man, I have the narrowest ankles.
It's ankles though. That's the point of ankles, to be nice and narrow.
No balance, wide hips, narrow ankles, no balance.
She's a mighty barn. That's all.
Should have been a drummer.
This has been another episode of Fashion Tips with Vampires.
Tips.
Sponsored by OK Tire.
Yeah. please.
I was going to say, like,
Something about a band.
rounding out the poster.
Yes.
It's $10 out the door, but
Very
we're going to do $15 with an album.
Nice.
So we're probably going to sell the album for $10 as well. But if you get it at the door, it's going to be $5 essentially.
Cool.
Just
Maybe we can throw in some a copy of the poster. You know, poster,
Definitely
poster CD,
copy of the poster.
cover.
Yeah.
we were thinking maybe giving you a couple copies of the disc, and you could
Give away?
for like 2 tickets in an album type.
Yeah,
thing,
I'd love to,
like
yeah.
that. We did that a couple times.
So hopefully by the time you hear this,
Car
that'll already
window.
be on there and you can win it.
Yes. Win and comment and share and
Yeah,
do whatever
yeah.
Sam tells you to do.
Exactly, yeah.
Buy him socks.
I need socks. You need to enter this contest. so I
Buy
can-
one pair of socks per entry.
I don't know how the contest gets me money to buy socks, but let's just assume.
Yeah.
Okay, so show, June 23rd,
Yeah.
June 23rd.
Pyramid Cabaret.
Pyramid Cab.
Why the Pyramid? I mean, not that there's anything wrong with the Pyramid.
Great
it's just
question. No, that's a great question. For me personally, that's a great question.
Okay.
I don't know about Matt. Matt, why did you want to play the Pyramid?
I don't think I'm allowed to talk about those things.
there's actually
Butt plug related again?
is there actually a story behind
Butt
this?
plug
Or?
related?
Butt plug related.
We're back on the butt plugs, are we?
I'm pretty sure
no.
Matt got banned from the Pyramid a while back.
What'd
This
you
is
do?
your sneaky move to get back in?
This is his sneaky
Love it.
move to get back.
How did you get banned from the Pyramid?
No.
He
There's,
just hits drums really hard, and
There's-
sound guys don't like that.
there's no.
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 That's true, but that's not.
There's none of that. That is true, but you know what? I've always liked the Pyramid. I've always found it to be like a staple of, dare I say, success in a Winnipeg band. If you play the Pyramid, I don't really care if like there's people there that
Absolutely.
just want to play.
I agree. I agree
Yeah.
completely, yeah.
It's got that kind of like.
What's a certain level above other
Yeah.
things and below
yeah,
other things, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Like you're not playing the Walker Theater yet, but you're gonna play the Pyramid.
Thank you for calling it the Walker. It's still called the Walker.
I know, right? Oh
Until
my
those
God.
3 shows happen, it's the Walker.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I used to run all ages shows there.
Okay.
So I've worked with Dave McKeegan.
Oh,
and-
don't say all ages shows. You got to say what shows they were.
Oh, I heard laser show.
I heard laser shows also. I heard I used to work all laser shows.
You
I was
have
like, oh, shit,
Every
that's
single
amazing.
laser show that ever happened there.
I was
the
wondering,
guy.
like, missing out on laser shows apparently.
Only lasers, no bands. People just
No,
stand there and get
Just
zapped.
Depending
Sounds
on what
great.
era of live music people come from, David used to run the Supernova shows.
Oh, was that the Battle of the Bands thing?
Yeah. Pay to play, Battle of the Bands.
Oh, man.
I had a Rolodex of like 500 local bands, all under the age of 20. It was incredible. Every
Driven
month,
out there by their parents.
every month
Yeah.
we did 15 bands.
All new ones every month too.
Pretty much. Maybe like maybe 3 or 4 would carry over. And it was a Battle of the Bands format where if you didn't sell 30 tickets at $10 a piece, so $300,
Yeah.
you weren't in the battle. You would just play.
But you weren't considered for.
You were considered like part of the competition.
What did you win? Did you actually win something? Or?
You could win studio
Won,
mics,
the
studio
ability to sell more tickets.
time, cymbals. I don't know if
Nobody ever
anyone
won.
ever received this.
No.
stuff.
Right. It was just yeah.
This money was scamming hard, man. 15 bands bring in $300.
Yeah.
And the venue
It's a lot of
costs
money, yeah.
$5. I get paid $3.
Yeah. Who got?
That's an extra $4,000 going back to Toronto, right? So I took over that position and I ran it like how I want to run shows. Like I would take
Lasers.
lasers
everywhere.
So it was $10 in advance and $15 at the door.
Okay.
And so I would like knock off like 4 people, and
Right.
that'd be like $60, right? And I would buy pizza for all the staff, or I'd
Yeah.
pay my door person double what the company wanted me to pay them.
Right.
And, like, I would actually like run a show to my understanding because that company sucks.
Like actually having some kind of moral values or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, super sucks. And then, anyway, so yeah, I just got really comfortable. But I got what I wanted out of it, which was learning how to run a show, promote a show, working with like sound people, like stage managing, all that stuff. And Dave Keegan and I, when we were counting the cash together, he'd be like, you should just do this for yourself. And I was like, I don't know, man. He's like, no, like you're good at this. Like I like working with you. Like you should just do this for yourself. And I quit that job, and so Nat and I are shooting around venues. I was like, well, I have a decent relationship with Dave Keegan that I don't think anyone else has. I'm
Yeah.
joking. Like you sometimes can't.
I don't hear a lot of people talk about him the way you're talking about him.
Yeah,
right now.
exactly.
Nobody usually smiles when they're talking about Dave.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like, Dave, eh?
So
I don't know him personally, but he has an interesting social media presence.
yeah, he's great. He's great. And so I sent him an email being like, hey, we want to do our release. And he emailed us back with like, and I'm pretty sure he thought of this after we emailed him. He was like, "Oh, we're doing this like this deal, this sale where local bands who are doing a release get the room for like this price as opposed to regular price." And like part of me was kind of like, I didn't see that advertised anywhere. I feel like
Sounds
me
like
asking
Dave.
like prompted this.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't doing me a favor. He just was like, "Oh, I'm also doing this for everyone. You happen to ask." But no, he cut us a great deal. Is exactly why. Because I think it's like a fucking like $800 room most of the time, so like always wanted to play the Pyramid as like a real band, like an album release and a good working relationship, and the location is great. It sounds really good in there.
Yeah.
The sound is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's
They've
got
got great text as well.
Big sound
Yeah.
system, great tax, and like how many shows have we all been to at the Pyramid?
Chameleon.
Yeah.
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 So many.
Going back to like 94 or something, I saw AFI there.
There you go, yeah.
To like fucking...
I saw everybody.
Yeah,
I saw a lot of shows
I
there.
saw Black Delicious there like 3 years ago.
Yeah,
Like,
I saw a Tribe Called Quest
Yeah,
there.
just
like,
constant, right? Consistent.
everything. And it's funny because when I think about growing up, I saw shows at La Rendezvous, the Albert,
Yeah,
the
La
Collective,
Rendezvous.
and the Pyramid.
Yeah.
That was it.
The West End.
West End.
West End,
West
for
End,
sure.
that's true. But they were always over early, so I don't.
Yeah. West End was all ages shows on the weekends in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And West End's a whole different beast now. Like same ethos,
Yeah.
but completely different
That's a really good point.
attainability.
I forgot
Yeah.
about the West End. I saw so many Monine shows there.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a
Just
little
watching
band
hippie Chris
called-
jump off those monitors, like,
Yeah,
wow.
so fun.
Cut your hair, hippie.
So, I mean, yeah, the West End's different now. The Albert doesn't exist.
The
Collective
Rendezvous
doesn't
gone.
exist. The Rendezvous
Yeah.
doesn't exist. The Pyramid's still here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's one of the few that's still still going from that.
Exactly. And,
yeah.
Matt and I played the Goodwill and the Daughter a gajillion times. And
Well, those are kind of filled
Fuck
some of the
it.
voids.
And it's
with
nice to
the-
get kind of out of that West, like the Wolseley
Yeah.
West Broadway, West End thing, right?
yeah,
Like,
it's
get
a downtown venue where, like, I think a lot of good things happen. Like, rock and roll is generated in downtown vibes, and, like...
Plus, you're like a parking lot away from Club 200.
That's right. That's right.
Not a bonus?
Good
Yeah.
beers, good stuff.
VLTs?
Yeah.
Oh, you got VLTs at the Pyramid too. Oh,
They have two
They
VLTs.
Cameras,
do,
they
they
got
do,
two,
they do, yeah.
and they're both rigged.
Keegan's on one of them. So.
All the time. Yeah, all the time. Yeah, so I mean, like, I think the short answer is just always wanted to.
Cool. That's a good
That's
answer.
a long way to go. I just wanted to.
Sure.
Like 10 minutes of explanation. Yeah, I just wanted to do it.
Oh, yeah. I'm a rambler.
Lordy.
No, that's cool. I mean, I wasn't expecting such a detailed answer, but just because the Pyramid is not. I mean, like you said, we've all seen a million shows there over the years, but I don't think it usually gets thought of for something like this. Like, I mean, somewhere like the
Yeah.
Goodwill seems like the place people do this shit now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, or the Daughter, depending on the size of the band, right? But yeah,
Yeah.
the Pyramid's kind of the Pyramid.
Yeah, exactly. Like, like I tell people the Pyramid, and they're like, "Oh shit!"
You guys are moving
It's
up.
a nice
eh?
venue as well. Like you can fit a lot of people in the room
Yeah.
without having to worry about if you get a little bit less than that, it feeling empty.
That's right.
Like
Yeah, it's
Sam
got
and I
that
know a
perfect
couple things about empty rooms.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been there for sure.
Bunch of times.
Playing to other bands.
Yep.
Well, yeah, you haven't been in a band until you play to the other members of the band and their girlfriends.
Yeah,
yeah,
and
yeah.
And possibly somebody's mum.
maybe.
Yeah, who just made the mistake of not going.
They didn't understand what the zoo was. And
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or the Albert, they're like, oh, the Royal Albert sounds classy.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's an old hotel.
Yeah.
I like that.
I think the worst example of that I ever did was, do you guys remember there's a place called Verna's on Pembina? Verna's with a Z. It was, do you know what Stamina is?
Oh shit!
Okay,
I
so
remember
it's
the
a
night in question.
Verna's, were you there? You're probably there.
Yeah, I definitely was.
Verna's was this Jamaican bar on Pembina. It was open after the Braemar closed.
Oh,
Some of the same clientele, and it was this weird spot on Pembina. Like, it was not a good place for a venue.
Yeah.
But some band, I can't remember what they're called, from Toronto or something. They were not very successful or well known or anything. They just randomly booked a show there because they didn't know what it was.
It's a club.
It's a club. Let's book a show.
Yeah.
And they went on MySpace, because this is the era of MySpace, and said, hey, any Winnipeg bands want to play a show? And I was like, I don't know who they are, but sure, we'll play a show.
Yeah.
And so it turns out they actually booked like 5 local bands instead of just 1 or 2. And so when we got there, they're like, well, yeah, you guys are supposed to play 2. And we're like, yeah, we were supposed to play. We're on the poster. So we ended up playing last after them, after the headlining band. And this is like 1 o'clock in the morning. So all of the actual clientele, like the
Yeah.
Jamaicans, bailed like within minutes of the first band playing because it was not what they were open to, And so we go on, and there's not even band's girlfriends. It was literally us and the headlining band because we were using their amps. And that was it. And Stamina,
they were forced to be there.
And Stamina, who is like this, big Jamaican guy, like, he does a lot of dancehall stuff and everything. He's doing sound.
Yeah.
And he loved the Mothboat, which is hilarious because like we expected him to just hate it because he seemed to hate everything else.
Yeah.
And we came up with like a robot and all this stupid fog machines and shit, and he was just like, that was awesome, and like so at least he liked it. The other band wanted to leave to go on the next tour date, and here we are like playing. It was bad.
Honestly, impressing the sound guy has always been one of my things that I like to do because the sound guy sees every.
I don't think he liked how we sounded. I think he just liked the insanity of it. Like I think he respected the fact that we were.
The fact that you went there, did that.
We had like liquid psychedelic projections to no one.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what was in between two car sales lots. Two used car lots, and then just this weird building in between. Pretty sure it's a Church of Scientology.
I think it might be.
No way.
I ended up going there.
I made that part.
No, I think it's something weird like that though. It's
Sounds
weird. Yeah.
I don't remember that one.
I ended up going there a bunch of times for some reason. I think I played there more than once, but it was weird. It was like not a very popular room.
That's right. I think if you can impress the sound person, you're doing okay.
You do something right. Yeah.
Because like Matt said, like the sound person sees hundreds of acts
every day.
All the time.
Yeah.
Just like nonstop. Like if someone came up to you and was like, "That was really cool. I haven't seen that in a while. Like that's really neat." Like take that to heart. I think.
Yeah. Exactly.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think that's another reason why we're doing this release is people were just kind of like, "I missed your band. What are you guys doing?"
Yeah.
We're like, that's a good question. We should
guys
ask ourselves
are
that.
neat.
We should try and ask ourselves that more often because I'm not asking it enough.
But for people who like remember you from whatever the last time you did a show was, because what did your last EP, I guess, right? That'd be probably the last big thing you did that people will remember, I guess, if they're casual listeners or whatever to what you do.
The EP was big. Our tour and Sled Island was pretty big.
Yeah, of course, yeah. That was
We had a couple of highlights here.
Yeah, a couple of highs, a couple of lows,
But for people who remember you from then, and now here you are suddenly suddenly it seems to them, right? Coming out now again. Yeah. What are they gonna? What should they expect? Like, I mean, because this album hasn't been heard yet, even though it was recorded back then. Like, is there obviously the quality is different because the hi-fi versus lo-fi thing, as you mentioned earlier. But like sonically, is there a big difference compared to like the classic Vampire sound, if we can call it that?
I don't know. Like it's better. Might be a way to describe it.
It's probably more a mature writing at this point, maybe, or at least the culmination of two 30-year-olds that wrote an album as opposed to two 20-year-olds.
Sure,
when the first album came out.
I mean, like there's some hidden effects in here. Like I tracked some lower end lines with a POG, like a polyoctave generator.
Okay.
So like
I don't know what that means, but it sounds cool.
Yeah, I know what that means for sure. I remember POG.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
basically the pedal to make you sound like Korn.
So okay.
No, it's the pedal that makes you sound. You can take a note and turn it into a lower octave.
Okay, cool.
Right? Just add some bass to your sound.
Right.
You hide it, or you...
Yeah, I used a Les Paul and a POG and tracked some lower notes, which, at first I thought of it as kind of cheating a little bit, but I did have I was using it like in our live show, but very, very, very subtly.
Okay.
And so, I guess the producer, we were working with Sean Dealey, and he was like, well, you should bring that out a little bit more. And we were experimenting, and then we actually tried tracking with a bass, and I was like, it sounds like a bass. I don't want a bass.
Right.
So it's a guitar going through an effect, and that's, that third instrument isn't on stage with us.
Okay.
So this is our first time kind of like layering instruments.
We've been conscious of not being that two-piece that has a bass player and a trumpet and a keyboard line and all this shit.
Right, and then live doesn't do it. Yeah.
And then they have, a live show, it's just guitar and
drums. So, we did some of the studio stuff that we were afforded this time. Like you said, you had the extra guitars and the extra effects and 900 walls of amps. We tried out this and that and some feedback and, put up through the kitchen sink at the album, but we didn't do anything that we can't turn around and do live ourselves type of thing.
Well, that's what you want, right? Especially as a two-piece, you want to be able to replicate it.
There's nothing that's more disappointing than hearing an album and then being like, wow, that's really cool. Listen to that bass line they have, or listen to that great keyboard lead, and then you see them live and they're either attempting to try and do that, or they've just cut it right out, and you're like, oh, well, that hook, the only hook of your song is missing.
Yeah, it's gone, and now I hate this.
So,
I mean, our music's pretty dynamic, riff-tastic is something I hear a lot. People are like, oh, you guys got great riffs, on drums and guitar. People are like, oh, I love your drummer's riffs, or drummer lines, I guess is what they call it. I love his lines, I love your riffs, and I feel like that's more or less what we're about. And the album's full of riffs.
Fantastic. I like it.
Fantastic.
It's still similar music. I mean, there's instrumental tracks, there's singing vocal tracks.
Yeah.
It's still the same Vampires, but more mature, maybe. I don't know.
Oh yeah, from the last record, it's just better. I don't know.
Had some good people working on it, some good ears, some good people, behind the boards and all that kind of stuff. And
Right.
we came into the Exchange District Studios there at an interesting time because Ken Mode had just kind of been in and out of there with
cool.
Sean Dealey, and they had just previously then recorded with
Albini.
Albini. So they kind of came back with some tips and tricks,
Okay.
and like the signature Albini sound is kind of like him putting mics on the ground of the studio.
Oh, really? Okay.
3/4 of the way across the room and kind of focusing the sound on those. So like, we tried a bit of that.
That is cool, actually. Yeah, I never knew how you got that.
You don't know what the sound is, but when you hear that Albini sound, it sounds like,
You can recognize it, yeah,
sound.
for sure, yeah.
And the kit sounds like that.
Yeah, when he would isolate those things of like, this is his trick, this is what he does, and you listen to it like, oh my god, it sounds like a Jesus lizard.
That's really cool, actually, yeah.
So, like,
And like having that experience, like Jesse Madison from Ken Mode came in and listened to us track for a day. Like he cracked some beers and was just wanting to listen to our songs.
Yeah.
And like just having that. Like, whoa, I kind of felt like a mouse again, like I've worked, I was kind of like, oh, I'm here.
it felt like some weird, like how they talk about Neil Young in the studio and like, oh, he would be there, and then Fleetwood Mac would come walking through,
Yeah.
and they would hang out, and then Carole King was just hanging out, or like the studio is just this place where the artist kind of like lived and hung out. And
Yeah.
Mike and the guitar player from Cancer Bass just showed up one
right
day.
on.
And they were just like,
Yeah.
I'm just coming to say hi.
Was that just when they were here recording their own stuff?
They were
or-
just, I don't
know,
we
they
were
were in
touring.
town for a day.
Like Mike lives here.
Yeah, Mike, yeah.
The rest of them are in Toronto, so they
Yeah.
were probably rehearsing or
Yeah,
doing
they stopped by,
something,
they
but,
hung out
like,
for a bit. And
it was just this weird experience that we're in there, like, trying to make our way through these songs, and then these celebrities are walking through
yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
And they're not just like, like see you later. They're like stopping and asking, like,
That's
what
awesome.
are you guys
That's
doing
really
here?
cool, yeah.
And how you doing? And like, I thought that was really funny. So like for us, like I think we know more what we're worth, and so like putting that on stage is maybe what people could expect.
Cool.
You know.
So for people who are either hearing you for the first time now or have heard you before and are kind of looking forward to the comeback, I guess if you want to call it that,
Yeah.
what's the best thing for them to do to find out more information? Like, do you still have all of your old social media and everything from before?
Oh yeah, we
Is
got
that still
the
active?
Bandcamp and the Instagram and the Facebook and the YouTube and all that shit.
We stopped using them for 2 years and then gained like 300, 400 400 followers on each of them.
Yeah.
And
Without doing anything?
Without doing a fucking thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of amazing, actually, yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Did you find a way to sell
Kind
that?
of like
Any
vampires. It's kind of like the story of vampires, man. It's like the more time we take off, the more popular we get. Like, I stopped playing. Like, we stopped playing as vampires essentially when, like, a lot of new bands started to get big.
Yeah.
Like, Yes We Mystic and Living Hour.
Yeah.
And, like, when Ken Mode finally became popular in their own city when they were released Entrenched.
Right, rather than being huge everywhere else. In the
like, started to remember that
like
they're-
all of my friends all of a sudden like,
good.
have you heard about this Ken Mode band? And I just want to like smack them in the face and be like, no, I've never heard of them.
Yeah.
At the Albert 6 times a week for 5 years.
Yeah,
You know what I
it
mean?
wasn't
Like,
at a show in 1998 that they played. Yeah,
yeah, you know what I mean? Like I have, and so it's just so funny. Like, and so people, this is gonna sound really egotistical, but like people without seeing us think we're good because we have this word of mouth.
I like that.
That's the opposite of egotistical.
like because a lot of people who have seen us are like, oh, they're fucking great. I love vampires.
Yeah.
But they're that one friend out of their whole cast of friends who have came to our show.
Yeah.
So this whole like generation of young musicians are like are being vouched for by like their one friend who came to our show 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, so like I'm kind of like I don't like we have all these friends like you guys are great, and I'm like, have you ever seen us play?
Yeah.
Like I don't really know how to reply to that, and so I'm just really excited to be able to show people who haven't seen us before,
But who know of you and have heard like, maybe a
know
couple
of
songs
us.
or something. Yeah.
Exactly. Like I have a radio show like you do.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
Well, and you're very active at UMF,
yeah, exactly. Like
yeah.
we're active people, so of course they're aware of our hobbies and our endeavors,
Yeah.
our lives. So it's finally nice to like show them what it's all about.
Cool.
We're not playing old songs.
Okay.
Just to get that out of the way.
Yeah, probably.
Well, then maybe that's a good way to wrap it up. Not playing old songs, playing new songs,
Yeah.
which are not new, but they're new to everyone else except for you guys.
Yeah.
So
They're very old to us. at
yeah,
this point.
yeah. So again, June 23rd. Is that, 23rd. Pyramid Cabaret.
It's handy having this fucking.
It is. It is.
poster.
I took my glasses off, so I can't read it. Vampires new album release show. Ranchos Muerto. Shooter book. I'm reading it right off the poster.
Yes,
Homeward
you
Bound.
can tell.
10 bones at the door. Bring ID 18+, and hosted by me somehow. Whatever I end up doing, but I'm gonna actually be at a show for once, and so I mean, I don't think it's a draw at all. But I think Ranchos Muerto and you guys obviously coming back is the draw here, and obviously
don't forget Juniper Bush and Homeward Bound.
Yes, great, yeah, for sure.
Well,
yeah.
what I want to say to Juniper Bush is Lizzie sang with us for both of our Yeah.
Oh, right, the Yeah.
Cool,
covers.
yeah.
Like, we loved working with her.
Yeah.
So like that was the first band we thought of.
Cool.
Because they've been playing lots of shows and they're really good, and like I just want to throw that in there.
Cool.
Yeah, are fucking awesome.
Cool, awesome. Yeah, well, people should look up the old social media that seems to have been.
Yes. They're fucking awesome.
Yeah.
All right, let me wrap this fucking thing up.
I'm trying to get it come to a close here because this is getting too long. But you know it's a good podcast when you could keep going for a while and you're still
That's what we seem to do. We take your show and we derail it.
It's good. It's good. I like
3-hour episodes.
Yeah, your bad decision was having the three of us on the show together with you.
Well, this is like gonna mess with my reputation for being able to time things really well. Because I was on. Now I'm like doing the show.
Derailed.
You guys familiar with Mum's House?
Oh yeah.
The show, the video shows. So I've hosted a few of them, and I did 2 more episodes that are coming out soon. They'll be out by the time this comes out.
Sweet.
And they kind of say like, okay, for the interview portion of the show, which is what I was doing, keep it around 15 minutes, give or take. Yeah. I'll point at you if you're going over. And both times I was in with both interviews, I was in with 10 seconds and 15 minutes, just dead on. Nice. And this is a failure completely.
And this is not that.
Usually I'm able to keep the interview part to a certain length approximately, and there was a point where I knew it was happening and we passed it.
I am a rambler.
I don't know how to get back from that now. I'm still talking when I should be just hitting the hot button. But go to the show, buy the CD, listen to Witchpolice.
Buy socks. Don't wear them.
Try to get Ryan's poster at the show.
Yeah.
You can buy that, right? Or auction it or whatever.
Yeah.
And vampires.
That's great. And vampires.
Yeah, vampires.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. Well, I don't need to plug anything else. You got to plug anything?
I got fucking nothing.
Okay, all right.
All right.
End of show.